In 2 Chronicles 23, we read, Then Jehoiada made a covenant between himself and the king and the people, that they would be the Lord's people. This passage is part of the going back and forth of God's people, where they approach God, they're like God, they follow God, they listen to God, they devote themselves to God and His ways, and they organize themselves based on how God told them to organize themselves. And then they go away from that and they build other temples and they create a different culture, or a culture that's not pleasing to God. And then eventually things happen and they come back to the center and they come back into the presence of God. The point of this for us, I believe, is not just the history of Israel, but rather our own stories. We come and go from faith. It happens even within a course of a day. It's hard sometimes to believe in that which we have not seen, right? We have these experiences, these mystical experiences, and we're so sure that God exists, we're so sure that God loves us, that Jesus Christ is the one and only Son, that we should bow down and say Christ is Lord, He's King, everything in the world doesn't matter as much as Him. And then we get our bank statement, or then we see somebody with a nicer phone, or a nicer car, or a bigger house, or a better boat, or whatever, fancier vacations, and we start to thrive and strive a little bit more and a little bit more, and we put our value in funny places. I've noticed that it can be very hard for us if we go too far down any given road to turn and say, oh, that wasn't the right pathway, or maybe it was the right pathway for that time, but at this point in my life it's time for a different pathway. I want to encourage you, whatever paths you've been on in life, it's not too late to turn and say, look, I wasn't a person who gave sacrificially for others or of my time for others. Well, that can change. You can do that if you want to. You can say I'm an angry man, or I'm an impatient woman, or whatever. It's not too late to overcome the story that we're telling ourselves and to turn into the direction of better flourishing, of more living the way we would like to live. Whatever you would finish the sentence with when you say, I am too easy to get frustrated. I am too interested in alcohol. I am too much of a gambler. I am too concerned about sex. Whatever it is, that's something that you know intuitively you would like to do better at. You might be telling yourself the story that you cannot improve, that you can't do better, or that other people around you have already defined you this way. I party too much, and now I feel like everybody expects me to be the party animal. I'm telling you, they might, but that's okay. What's important is how God views you. God sees you as His beloved child. As His child, He wants to see good things happen for, that He wants to see the best flourishing possible. Like a parent who's watching a wayward child, God looks upon us and wants us to turn back to better ways, more fruitful ways, more God-honoring ways, but also ways that honor who we are and who we are meant to be. And so my encouragement to you today is very simple. If there is a part of your life that you feel you've been going down a track for a long time, and maybe you want to get off that track and you're scared for any reason, pray to God for courage, pray to God for help, and if you need to, call a friend, call someone else. I'm sure you can find someone who will walk that road with you, who will be happy to see you move towards greater health and flourishing in life. This is the story of the Bible, where people come and they go in and out of faith all the time, the rerouting of things. So Jehoiada can move himself and move his people from one direction that they had invested in into a new direction that they're going to invest in. And we can give thanks that we live in a world created by and overseen by a God of love and mercy, who would love nothing more than to see us change our courses when we've been off track.